Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. What was supposed to be a joyful New Year's Eve celebration turned into something tragic. Christine Dacera, a 23-year-old flight attendant, was looking forward to ringing in 2021 with friends. But as the clock struck midnight, the celebration took a dark turn, leading to a horrifying end. Christine spent her final hours at a luxury hotel, and the answers to what happened are hidden in blurry hotel security footage. The camera shows Christine entering and leaving the party in room 2209, her smile bright and her energy high. But as the night goes on, her movements become slower and more disoriented. The footage reveals a disturbing change, but the crucial moments remain unclear. Christine re-enters the room, and soon after, she is found lifeless in the bathtub by hotel staff the next morning. The footage only provides fragmented glimpses of what occurred. Guests are seen moving between rooms, but the crucial moments are missing. The camera captured Christine's last moments, but did not prevent the tragedy. The incomplete footage leaves us with unsettling questions about what truly happened behind those closed doors. Christine Dacera was much more than a headline. Born in General Santos City, she was a vibrant 23-year-old starting her career as a flight attendant for Philippine Airlines. Known for her beauty and adventurous spirit, she seemed to have it all. Christine was a loving daughter and loyal friend, but her life was cut short in a way no one could have predicted. After earning her degree in communication arts, Christine was traveling the world, living her dreams. On New Year's Eve 2020, she celebrated with friends at the City Garden Grand Hotel in Makati. The night was filled with excitement, but something went wrong. As the party continued, Christine's behavior changed, and tensions rose. What transformed this night of celebration into a morning of tragedy remains a chilling mystery. The footage captures her final moments, leaving us with haunting questions about what happened behind those closed doors. Christine began to feel unwell, but what was causing it? The hotel's camera footage shows her moving in and out of rooms, her steps becoming slower, her energy fading, and her usual sparkle dimming. What was going wrong? The night had started with celebration, but as the hours passed, an ominous change seemed to be taking place. Was it just the alcohol, or was there something more sinister at play? Christine wasn't herself, yet no one seemed to grasp the seriousness of the situation. In her final hours, Christine was seen leaving and re-entering the room one last time. This would be the final moment the cameras would capture her alive. Behind the closed doors of room 2207, Christine's life was slipping away unnoticed by anyone outside. Her family and friends would soon be left searching for answers to a mystery that began on what was supposed to be a night of joy. The morning revealed a grim reality. As the sun rose and the new year began, room 2207 of the City Garden Grand Hotel became a scene of horror. The silence of the room felt heavy, almost as if the walls themselves were aware of the tragedy that had occurred. Christine, once vibrant and full of life, was found lifeless in the bathtub by her friends. Her dreams and joy were extinguished in the cold reality of death. How did this happen? How did a night of celebration end with Christine's body discovered cold and lifeless? Imagine waking up after a night of partying, expecting only the typical aftermath: tired faces and quiet murmurs. Instead, you find panic. Christine's friends, who had spent the night with her, were now desperately calling for help, trying to make sense of the situation. Paramedics arrived, their sirens cutting through the still morning air, but they were too late. Christine was unresponsive, and despite their efforts, nothing could bring her back. The horror of the situation left her friends, who had laughed with her just hours earlier, bewildered and helpless. Her body was rushed to the Makati Medical Center, but she was declared dead on arrival. What happened in the final hours of that fateful night? As Christine's body was examined, investigators found bruises, lacerations, and other unexplained injuries. These marks suggested that something more sinister had occurred. Initial reports indicated that Christine might have been sexually assaulted or drugged. The people in the room with her friends and acquaintances became persons of interest. 11 men, all with their own stories, were now under scrutiny. The mystery deepened. The autopsy report, intended to provide clarity, only raised more questions. The official cause of death was a ruptured aortic aneurysm, a condition that can occur naturally and is often linked to high blood pressure. But how could this be? Christine had visible bruises and injuries that suggested something violent. Could this truly be the explanation? How could a healthy 23-year-old woman, full of life, suddenly die from an aneurysm? Was this really a medical condition? Or was there something more to the story? Had the events of the night contributed to her death? The camera footage didn't provide all the answers, and the men who had been with Christine insisted they had done nothing to harm her. Could they be trusted? Or were they hiding something? Christine Dacera's death marked the beginning of a case filled with twists and heartbreaking uncertainties. The conflicting autopsy report, the unexplained injuries, and the mysterious circumstances of her death all point to a puzzle that remains unsolved. As investigators piece together the timeline, the focus shifts to those final hours. Who was with her? Who could have caused her harm? Or was it, as the autopsy suggested, just a tragic medical condition? The truth remains elusive, leaving Christine's family devastated and searching for answers that seem just out of reach. As we delve deeper into Christine Dacera's case, the answers seem just out of reach. But we must keep searching because the truth, whatever it may be, is out there waiting to be uncovered. The discovery of Christine's body shocked the world, but the ensuing investigation only deepened the mystery. With so many unanswered questions, the Philippine National Police swiftly launched an inquiry into the events of that night in room 2207. However, from the start, this investigation was anything but straightforward. The line between fact and speculation blurred, and with each step forward, the truth seemed to slip further away. Who was responsible? Who were the key players? Most importantly, how did Christine die? These were the questions investigators sought to answer, but as they dug deeper, the case grew more tangled and tragic. The hotel's camera footage became a crucial piece of evidence. Silent but always watching, these cameras provided a glimpse into Christine's final hours. The footage showed Christine and her friends moving between rooms, drinks in hand, laughing and celebrating the new year. But as the night progressed, Christine's movements began to change. She appeared less steady, her vibrant energy fading. The footage captured her entering and exiting rooms multiple times, but something seemed off. Her demeanor had shifted. Her steps were slower, and she seemed more disoriented. Was she just drunk? Or was something more sinister happening? Investigators scrutinized every frame, but the footage revealed only part of the story. It didn't show what was happening behind closed doors, nor did it explain the bruises found on Christine's body. The footage also featured 11 men present at the party, moving between the rooms. Who were these men? Were they friends, strangers, and what role, if any, did they play in Christine's death? As the investigation focused on these 11 men, they became persons of interest. Were they witnesses or suspects? The media quickly seized on the idea that Christine had been raped and murdered, and public opinion turned against the men she had been with. As investigators questioned them, conflicting stories emerged. 2 men, identified as Christine's friends, insisted nothing had happened. They revealed they were gay and had no sexual interest in Christine, claiming she was simply drunk and that they had not harmed her. But if this was true, why did Christine have bruises? Why was she found in such a tragic state? The other men, who had met Christine only that night, maintained they were not involved in anything that could have caused her death. Yet, investigators remained skeptical. Was Christine's death simply due to alcohol consumption? Or were these men hiding something more sinister? The autopsy report became a focal point of the investigation. It suggested Christine died from a ruptured aortic aneurysm, a natural condition but one that seemed to contradict the bruises and injuries found on her body. Investigators pressed on, seeking any evidence of foul play. Christine's grieving family insisted that something had been done to their daughter, pointing to the unexplained injuries as proof of assault and murder. However, the medical report did not confirm this, showing no definitive signs of assault. This left the case at a crossroads. The medical evidence pointed to a natural cause, while the physical signs on Christine's body suggested violence. Which version was true? Was Christine's death a tragic medical accident, or was there something more sinister at play? Theories swirled. Some believed her heavy drinking and excitement triggered the aneurysm, while others suspected the men she had been with might have harmed or drugged her. Each theory came with contradictions, making the truth increasingly elusive. Investigators continued to piece together the timeline, but the more they searched, the harder it became to grasp the reality of what happened in room 2207. Was Christine's death a tragic accident or something darker? A murder hidden in plain sight? The chilling question of who killed Christine Dacera haunted investigators, her family, and everyone following the case. Despite the camera footage documenting the night's events, crucial gaps remained. Gaps that held the key to understanding her death. Was it a murder, an accident, or something else entirely? The investigation sought to unravel these mysteries, but the truth remained just out of reach. As we delve deeper into Christine Dacera's case, the truth seems to be slipping further from the grasp of those seeking answers. The official autopsy report indicated that Christine died from a ruptured aortic aneurysm, a natural cause of death. But could it really be that simple? The bruises and cuts on Christine's body suggested something violent had occurred, leading her family to reject the idea that her death was merely an accident. Could the aneurysm have been triggered by external factors? Might the events of that night have pushed her body to its breaking point? Here's where things become complex. While the medical evidence pointed to a natural cause, the physical injuries raised serious red flags. If Christine died from an aneurysm, why was her body covered in bruises? Had she been attacked? Was there a struggle? Or were the injuries from something less sinister, perhaps an accident or the chaotic events of the night? Christine's family firmly believed that something had been done to their daughter. They suspected she had been sexually assaulted, possibly drugged, and that her death was the result of a heinous crime. The media embraced this theory, and soon the public was demanding answers. Who had harmed Christine? Who among the 11 men in that hotel room was responsible for her death? The men present that night told a different story. Some, including her close friends, insisted that nothing violent had happened. They claimed Christine had simply overindulged in alcohol and passed out. But the injuries on her body seemed to contradict this explanation, fueling public suspicion. Could the men have been involved in something far more sinister than they admitted? As the investigation continued, theories abounded. Could Christine have been unknowingly drugged? Was she the victim of a calculated attack by those she was celebrating with? Or, as some suggested, had she succumbed to a rare and tragic medical condition, with the injuries being incidental? The truth remained elusive, and the deeper the investigation went, the harder it became to answer the question. Who killed Christine Dacera? Despite the autopsy suggesting a natural death, the public outcry for justice persisted. Christine's family demanded a second autopsy, hoping it would reveal the truth about what really happened. However, this too brought little clarity. Investigators were left grappling with conflicting evidence: the medical report, camera footage, and statements from those present. The men continued to claim innocence, some stating they were not attracted to women, while others stuck to their story that Christine had simply fallen ill. With every answer, new questions arose. Had Christine's death been an accident after all? Or were the answers obscured by a web of lies and deception? The bruises and cuts on her body remained unexplained if no crime had occurred. The investigation began to stall, with the truth slipping further from reach. After months of investigation, public speculation, and media frenzy, the answer remains frustratingly unclear. The medical evidence points to a tragic death from a ruptured aneurysm, but the unexplained injuries and conflicting stories suggest something more. The chilling part of this case is that sometimes the truth isn't as clear as we hope. Despite all the evidence, we are left with more questions than answers. Was Christine Dacera murdered? Or did she simply fall victim to a cruel twist of fate? The official verdict leans toward a natural death, but doubt lingers. Perhaps we will never truly know what happened in room 2207 that night. What is certain is that Christine Dacera's story is one of tragedy, mystery, and unanswered questions that continue to haunt those who loved her and those seeking the truth. Christine was a young woman with her entire life ahead of her, a vibrant flight attendant, a daughter, a friend. Her life was tragically cut short in a way that leaves us all searching for answers. The sadness of it all. How could a night of celebration end in such devastating loss? Her death, shrouded in mystery and confusion, has left not only her family and friends in pain, but also the public grappling with the unanswered questions of that fateful New Year's Eve. Despite the investigation, theories, and official reports, the truth remains elusive. Was it murder or a tragic accident? The autopsy pointed to a ruptured aneurysm, but the bruises and injuries on Christine's body remain unexplained. We may never know the full story. The men who were with her that night claimed innocence, and the footage offers only partial glimpses of what happened. Christine's family continues to grieve, dealing with the heartbreak of her sudden and tragic death. The mystery lingers, like an unsolved puzzle, waiting for answers that may never come. Christine Dacera's case is more than just a tragedy. It's a chilling reminder that sometimes the truth remains hidden, no matter how hard we search for it. Her death, whether due to natural causes or the actions of another, is a painful reality for her loved ones and everyone who has followed her story. Her story isn't just about the mystery of her death, but also about the fragility of life and the haunting possibility that even the most thorough investigations can leave us with more questions than answers. As we conclude Christine Dacera's story, we are left with a sense that the full truth is still out there, waiting to be uncovered. Until then, we will continue to remember Christine, seek justice for her, and keep asking the tough questions that need to be answered. Thank you for watching today's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Crime Stories channel.